Hello and welcome to Defy the Odds, the podcast where you will become the richest person you know. My name is Ashley Wilhite. I am your host, and I am so excited you are here. If you don't know me, I'm an online business coach for big dreamers who have a massive vision and who want to make it happen in a way that feels so freaking easy and good. Now, a little bit of my story. I started my coaching business in September of 2020. In October, 1 month in, I had a $10,000 month. And then I made six figures my first year. My results don't make sense. They are not normal. And here's the thing, I don't want to be normal. I don't want a normal life. If I wanted to be normal, I would have stayed working for somebody else. I would have gotten a corporate job with a 401k, right? I would have been like most of the world, but I want to be extraordinary. I want unconventional. I want to defy the odds. And if you are here watching this, I know that you want to defy the odds too. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you exactly what I've done to build a multi six figure business. We are going to be talking about strategy. We're also going to be talking about energetics and mindset and self leadership. I'm going to share with you all of my celebrations as I continue to grow my business and defy the odds. And I'm going to share with you the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty, the messy pieces that most people don't talk about, because I think it's really important to be vulnerable and let you know that business is not always easy. Business is uncomfortable. Business stretches us. It shows us our blind spots. It shows us where we have to grow. And there can be growing pains. There can be times when you feel like you've got it all wrong, that you want to tear it down, that nothing is working. You wonder if you're the only one going through this. And I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are strong. You are capable. You've got this. If you feel like in your heart, in your soul, in your gut, you know that you are made for more. You know that you are here to defy the odds. You're in the right place. We're going to do the dang thing together. So, this is episode 1. In this episode, I want to tell you a little bit of my story and give you the context, give you the overview so you know a bit more about who I am and how I got to where I am today. So, like I said, I currently run a multi six figure business, online coaching business. I have built my business completely organically, meaning I don't use paid ads. I don't even have complicated funnels. I don't do sales calls. I simply create content primarily on Instagram. And this is how I built my business, through social media and through word of mouth. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to 2012. 2012, I'm working as a therapist. I graduated with a master's in counseling psychology from an Ivy League university. I'd been on this path for many years to become a therapist and eventually open a private practice. And as I was working as a therapist for a couple of years, I realized that I was getting burnt out. I realized that I wasn't feeling completely fulfilled. It's like I hit the point where I got the gold star, right? Went to college, went to grad school, got the job, did all the things that I thought that I wanted to do with my life. And then I was like, wait, this cannot be it. This can't be all that there is, because I feel like I'm settling right now. I feel like I haven't reached my full potential. I feel like I've barely even scratched the surface of it. And I'm not willing to continue living this life for the next 50 years, right? That would drive me crazy. And so I'm having this like come to Jesus moment with myself of like, okay, Ashley, what do you want to do with your life? How do you want to spend this one life that you've got? And this has been one of my greatest gifts, is asking myself this question. And this all started because my father passed away in 2008, and he was 56 years old at the time. I was 23, 24. And when he passed away, it made me recognize how short our lives are, how we've got this one chance to do something incredible if we're willing to go for it. And if you look around at the world, you start to realize how many people are just going through the motions and how many people are on that hamster wheel and how many people are actually so unhappy. And I think that's why we see so much anxiety and depression. And so many people are just settling with their lives. And I wasn't willing to do that. So when I was working as a therapist and I was starting to feel that bitterness creep in and that feeling of this can't be it and starting to burn out, I knew I had to make a change. And so I decided to start a coaching business. And I remember for my 28th birthday, I started a website and I was like, okay, I'm going to do 100 free coaching calls. And I'm going to put this out on Twitter and put this out on my blog. I was a blogger. And I'm going to do this 100 free calls just to see if I like coaching people because I'd never done it before. I'd only been in the therapy world. And so I offered these 100 free calls. And right away, I knew I was like, okay, this is it. I do love this. This is something that I feel confident doing. This is something that I think I would really enjoy. And if I build up this coaching business, then I'd have so much more freedom. One, I could work from anywhere in the world if I'm working for myself and doing it all online. Two, I get to choose who my clients are and what I'm helping them with, right? And three, there's no cap to the amount of money that I can make. I was like, this sounds fantastic. Why wasn't I doing this before? So, about a year later, I ended up quitting my job as a therapist and went full time into my life coaching business. And I built that business up over the next couple of years to the point where I was making about $3,000 a month. And that was paying my bills, but it wasn't giving me a lot of extra. It wasn't giving me the financial freedom that I'd been dreaming about. And I also started noticing that the way that I built up that business didn't feel good. It felt really stressful. It felt really heavy. And I built it up following all of these marketing strategies that I learned from all the experts online, right? Build up your email list, send out a newsletter every week. This is how you launch an offer. And because I had no business background or training, I trusted them. I was like, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it. And so that's how I did it. But after about 3 years, I got to that point again where I felt completely burnt out and I felt capped financially. And the interesting thing that I noticed looking back is that I was making about $3,000 a month, which was almost exactly what I was making for my salary as a therapist. Same amount of money, which I later learned was my energetic cap for money, which I have since drastically increased. And this is something that I help my clients do. So after that 3 years with that coaching business, I decided that again, it wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I could feel my body resisting it, and I was on that edge of burnout again. So I quit the coaching business. And I decided I was going to do whatever it took to pay my bills at that point. I ended up driving for Uber for a little bit. I eventually got a job as an executive assistant for a life coach. I got a job in retail. I worked in network marketing, right? I was scrappy. I was willing to do whatever it took. And so for a couple of years, I was in this in between space of figuring out what I was doing with my life. And looking back, that was one of the lowest points for me because I felt so ashamed that I had gotten to that point in my life where I didn't have a real job. I didn't have a 401k. I didn't have any promotions to be sharing with the world. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I didn't have any of these like external markers that you're supposed to be hitting in your life. And I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I was in therapy. I was working with coaches. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I know that I'm made for so much more. I know that I'm here to do something big with my life. I know that I'm not meant to have a typical 9 to 5 job. I know I'm not meant to just pay my bills every month and then hustle to make that money again. Like I know that. I feel that in my bones, but I don't know how. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And so for those couple of years, I was in this state of like, I had the feeling, the knowing in my body, but I didn't know the practical steps. And that was a really good lesson for me in not rushing it and not just choosing something to get the result when I knew that it wasn't aligned. And so I had to develop a lot of patience and a lot of self-trust. And then finally, in 2020, it landed for me. And I knew I was here to run a coaching business, but in a completely different way than I'd done it before. And this coaching business was going to be built primarily on energetics, alignment, and mindset with some strategy as well, instead of 100% strategy and zero anything else. When I got this download, when I had this realization of this is what I was supposed to do, it felt right in my body, but it also felt completely terrifying because I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know if it was possible to have a successful coaching business based on energetics and alignment and mindset. I'd never seen it done before, but I knew that I didn't want to do it the way that I'd done it before with the strategy. And so I had to trust myself. I had to trust and believe that if I had this pull, if I had this desire, if I had this knowing that this is what I'm supposed to do, then it would have to work. It would have to work, even if I couldn't see how. And so I took the leap and I did the most terrifying thing, which was investing in myself. I invested, I don't know the exact number. I'm going to say about $24,000 in myself, in my business, before I had made $1. I invested in a year-long container full of group programs and group coaching. And I invested in a private business coach for one-on-one support. Those investments were one to learn from people who were further ahead than me, right? If they are running businesses that look and feel similar to what I'm wanting to create, then they know something that I don't know. They have more experience, they have more knowledge, they probably have made some mistakes, they can tell me what not to do, right? They're one step ahead, so I want to work with them. And those investments were a way for me to bet on myself. They were a way for me to show myself that I was serious, that I was doing this, that I was going all in, that there was no plan B, there was no backup plan. We couldn't quit because we put money on the line. And because I made those investments, which stretched me, in that process, I became the person who invested in herself and who invested in her business. And that shifted my energy. I was no longer someone making $13 an hour working in retail, walking around the store saying, I own a six-figure business when I didn't. I was someone who invested $24,000 because she was starting a business and she was serious and she was going to make this happen. It changed the way that I showed up every single day. And I kid you not, September of 2020, I made this investment. October of 2020, I hit my first $10,000 a month. By December of 2021, a year later, I had my first six-figure year. And here we are, November of 2023. I have built and run a multi-six-figure business. I have defied the odds. No business training, no business school. Building a business purely organically, based off of my desires, based off of ideas that I get, my creativity, my heart, my own experiences, and sharing it on social media and having people buy, giving me thousands and thousands of dollars. It doesn't make sense. It is unrealistic. It is unconventional. It defies the odds. And I am on this journey where I am becoming the richest person that I know. and I'm just getting started. So, in this podcast, I'm going to take you on this journey with me, and we are going to have so much fun. We are going to have heart to heart conversations where I share with you the real, raw, vulnerable behind the scenes. We are going to celebrate when we hit those massive milestones. We are going to learn together, and we are going to continue to defy the odds. In the next episode, I'm going to share with you exactly how I had my first $10,000 month. So come back for that episode. But if you enjoyed this episode, please share it on Instagram and tag me at Ashley Wilhite Coaching. Share it with your friends, share it with your clients, share it with your coach, share it with your mom, anyone who you think would enjoy this. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I would appreciate if you would leave a review and rate it over on iTunes. I am sending you all so much love. And until next time, have a beautiful day.